Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Collective as we continue to do our best.
I've already done my best.
Apparently, you were just telling me that you went kind of ham.
I said I had a little conversation with the IGs this morning for sure.
Well, while you were having a conversation, hopefully everybody was liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so that they can be notified that we're now talking. We're now having a conversation. And hopefully, skirmish mode is on medium setting right now.
If it was a rotary dial this morning, I think I actually said out loud, I'm just getting started right now. This is only a 4 out of 10. So that means if I'm a 4 out of 10, there's another 7 levels that I can go to. Do the math.
Because then he can go to 11.
100%.
That's easy math. Easy peasy. Winterstorm, afternoon. Good to see you. Always good having you here. If you got any fire questions, by all means, shoot them through here. We'll put them up. But I did want to bring this up specifically, was that the last 7 days we've had some heavy hitters. We've had some really good conversations with lots of good, awesome people doing cool things in the world. And I wanted to see what your takeaways were, what some of the nuggets of wisdom that you've been able to pull out of this thing so far.
Well, here's the first one that comes immediately to mind. And, I don't know what we're going to be talking about. I don't have any pre-planned out ideas. But what instantly came to mind was last night, I ate 2 freaking mega meat pies, steak and kidney, and a steak and Guinness. And most importantly of all, I put some HP sauce on the plate. Now, I don't think you know my full background on HP sauce, Chance Girls.
Do tell us.
Because I have a philosophy on HP sauce. I know that sounds crazy, but anyone who's been in the game with me for a while, like my HP sauce philosophy goes plus of a decade. It's got to be damn near 20 years old.
Wow.
And it goes like this. I love me the HP sauce. I was raised on HP sauce as a kid in England. HP sauce is so legit.
It's good.
And because it's so legit, I like it. And I like to use it as often as I can, but I won't. I want to use it every day, but I don't. HP sauce is like the thing that I want, but I won't have. It's the thing that I hold at further than arm's distance as the, wish I could have some HP sauce today, but I'm not going to. Because I make HP sauce count. I want it every day, but I only use it on days that are important. And I know it sounds crazy. In fact, I've laughed about it in the past. People have laughed with me when I've told the story like, HP sauce has a long expiry date. My wife pulled out the last bottle of HP sauce that I bought that I so rarely use because I so rarely celebrate. And I celebrate with HP sauce, man. She pulled out the bottle and said, "This HP sauce expired over a year ago." I know.
Still good.
There's still over 3/4 of a bottle of HP sauce in it.
Oh, man.
Because I do not celebrate casually. To me, it's a big deal to use. It's literally the version of shooting off the fireworks. It's next level celebration for me. 1,900 calories of meat pies is a celebration.
Yeah.
But HP sauce is the fireworks of a mega notable moment. I've been on my own birthdays and I've not used HP sauce. I've used HP sauce so sparingly that I'll be overseas with athletes, and if they have a good event, I might break out the HP sauce. Andrew Bovard knows. He's seen me do it. A Marks and Spencer's pork pie, a Melton Mowbray pork pie. Literally my favorite pork pie in the world. Melton Mowbray is a pork pie that was, we'll call it, invented in Yorkshire, not too far from where I was born. My dad used to take me for Meltons, for Mowbrays, just in the butcher's shop in Barnsley. Nothing can touch a Melton Mowbray, man. with HP sauce. And so if someone wins, if someone like does really well in a world championship, maybe I'll use HP sauce that day. So I used HP sauce last night because I was
Mm-hmm.
celebrating some big wins here on the collective. Like every once in a while, I sit down, I think about how much ass we've kicked, how many awesome people we've met, how much goodness is being put out into the world, and I have a tiny little celebration.
Mm-hmm.
No one needs to know how important HP sauce is to me out there unless they know me. And if they know me, they know that that was a big deal moment.
I like the idea of having an exclamation mark, right? Like I really, regardless of what it is, regardless of what the celebratory thing is, right? But to be able to mark something in history and time in your own life, to be able to like, to really say, this is the moment and I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to actively celebrate it, which is because I mean, yay, cake, woohoo, right? It's
See, that's
there's
not how it
cake for
works for
everything,
me.
right? But well, this is
It's
what I
not
mean
just
is that
HP sauce. It's not just cake. If
yeah,
I'm celebrating with whatever, it doesn't matter. A banana split, whatever it is. If I know it's a moment where I'm pause 2, 3, recognizing it's a moment, doesn't matter whether it's beef jerky or HP sauce. In my head, I acknowledge the moment. It's just
mhm,
that for me, they're not frequent.
yeah,
They're uncommon moments for me. And I don't need to align the entire neighborhood with a parade and everyone squirting HP sauce at me as I run down like in slow motion. All I can think of is that scene on the beach, the slip. I can't even remember. I think it was De Angelis or whatever. There was an old schooly song. Dun, 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 dun. They're running across the beach. Oh, whatever. I'll think of the song later.
yeah,
But I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need anything from anyone other than occasionally I pause 2, 3, consider the body of work that I've been involved in, not my work, but the body of work that I'm
hmm
involved in. I consider, am I on track? Are we doing enough? Is this good? And if it all feels right to me, it gets a little squirt of HP sauce.
mm,
And I don't turn it into a big deal. I'm turning it into too big of a deal now. The only people who know that it's a big deal is before this podcast, the people who've been in the big deal moments.
yeah.
So now more people who aren't in the big deal know about the big deal.
Oh, we're gonna see HP saw pictures all over the place now, all of a sudden.
Uh,
But what I mean is like it doesn't what cake has been relegated to a special occasion kind of thing, but it's so used all the time that it's no
it's twice a
longer
day now.
special, right?
Wake
So
up for cake at breakfast.
yeah, well, I mean, maybe that could be definitely not.
But
Don't do that.
really,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
everything is all of the meaning of things have been stripped away by the average population because of the overuse of the special things,
Hmm.
the notable things. When you going back decades ago, if someone if someone really had a goal to, we'll call it lose weight, if they wanted to get if they wanted to approach a more healthy lifestyle and they wanted to lose some weight, like they'd really focus on that. And you know what they would hold as the um, gift to themselves or the acknowledgement of what the hard work that they'd gone through? They would buy themselves a dress, or they'd buy themselves a new pair of pants, or they'd buy themselves I'd buy myself a t-shirt that fits better or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what people used to do. But nowadays, it's every day is a day to buy something to make the thing that they don't want to face go away. I'm gonna buy some. I'm gonna buy some Romulan cloaking device black shirts where I don't have to do any work, but make me look slimmer.
Hmm.
I just put on another 10 pounds. Okay, I'm gonna buy one size up, but the headline on that shirt says it's gonna make you look 3 sizes down.
Mm.
You know, it's just everyone's trying to buy the solution. And because they can't buy the solution, the frequency of the solution increases until it's cake at breakfast.
That's if every moment's special, no moments are special,
Correct.
right? So that makes a lot of sense. Winterstorm says Chariots of Fire.
That was the one. That was the one, buddy.
That's a great tune. And he also mentions HP sauce doesn't expire. Its upper lip gets stiffer.
That's my opinion, but
Absolutely.
apparently not my wife's.
Well, the expiry dates really are set for the consumer anyway, right? It's just like
I said they're just
technically-
advisories.
Yeah, it really is just an advisory. You should know.
We
better.
actually have a bit of a running joke here in our house. Every once in a while, my wife likes to clear out the fridge and she'll hold something up like a bottle of hot sauce that was expired 4 years ago and say, "Can we get rid of this?" No, it's still good. It's just
Totally
an
fine.
advisory. It's hot sauce.
It's basically vinegar. I mean, it's not really going to go bad on you, so you're good. We do have one question here that it's actually a really good question. Winterstorm says, knowing what you know now about the collective and your show and podcast, what would you do differently if you had to start it all over again?
Well, that's a good question,
That is a
and
dang
I'll
good
say
question.
this: that is a timely question, as MCG knows, because on my live IG chat that I just came off of, I literally stated this: "Can you all please help me out? Sometimes I feel like I'm swimming upstream by myself. I'd like to level this thing up. Hit me up if you know how we can level it up, because I ain't happy with sitting in one spot. We've climbed a few rungs of the ladder, but there's a gajabillion rungs in front of us, and I only want to go up." So I threw out the general question of, please tell me how to do it better in my DMs. And I was using me as the example of this, what we're doing over here. And so, I mean, I've got ideas, but man, you've got ideas. You and I have got ideas. We've had some ideas with guests that have been on the show, but there's people like Winterstorm and such that they've been in the game a long time as well. They've got ideas that I want to hear. So it's a great question. And there are things that I would do different. But I'm now in a phase where I'm curious as to how to do it different for the future now. Like actually, it was started a couple of days ago when I didn't go crazy. I didn't get all heated, but I said, that's it. I'm done. I need next level now. Now. I'm impatient and I'm a relentless pursuer of excellence now. Let's go. Let's go. That's how I feel all the time, though.
I think you dialed it up to about a 6.
6. It was a 6-ish.
I think it was about a 6. So, I mean,
It wasn't a
that's
4 out of 10. It was a 6 out of 10.
It was definitely a 6.
It was a 6.
But it's good, though. Like, this is part of it. I mean, to be able to go back and change it in any way would change the outcome.
It would change where we are right now, for sure.
Exactly. So I think that the best thing we can do is to take the lessons that we would do then and apply them now. In that, the one thing that I really want to get sorted for this is a full-time editor, so that we can actually run these into clips, social media management, that kind of stuff. But again, these are just my ideas, or our ideas. But we want to hear from everybody else too. Got lots of people watching, so we should hit us up. Hit me in the DMs, in the comments. Hit me in my DMs. Hit me anywhere. Give us some info.
Yeah. Hit Chance Burles' DMs, not mine. I said it in mine. Hit me in my DMs, and I almost said out loud, but not not my DMs. Obviously, when I say my DMs, I mean Chance Burles' DMs. Yeah. I'm just the idea guy. He's the guy who has to solve all of these things.
Also known as the Good Idea Fairy. All good. So, to my original question, though. What some of the takeaways you've had so far?
Over the last few weeks?
Last couple weeks we've had quite a number, and we've had we've actually, on top of that, we've had consistent panels throughout quite a bit. So, and a lot of big things have happened. A lot of bigger, I guess, names, celebrity.
Yeah,
types.
well,
I don't know.
Well, as I see it, it's been a broader group of people. Not that we're pigeonholing ourselves to a particular genre or what have you. And I'm not even talking about genres per se. I'm just talking about considering bringing on guests that we wouldn't have considered a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is Pat McNamara. I'm sure
Mhm.
you were in your mind referencing that to some degree when you said big names. Now, a couple of months ago, there's we weren't ready for a Pat Mac.
Mhm.
We were barely ready for ourselves.
True.
But now I feel that, and to my point, just a couple of days ago, where I did put my foot on the gas pedal and said, "Let's go." That's how I feel now. I feel like we've moved through a phase that has got us to this point where I know I'm comfortable in front of a microphone now, or I'll
Yep.
say more comfortable. I'm not ever fully comfortable, but I'm comfortable enough in front of a microphone right now that I feel I can sit across from anyone in the world and have a good conversation.
Yeah.
And not in the sense of hold my own or feel like bring anyone over here and I'll just smash it. I'll crush it. I'll be awesome. We'll be awesome. The whole thing will be awesome. I don't think that. All I feel now is that I'm semi-competent in front of the microphone, and I feel like it won't be a waste of time for the guest. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah. That's a
So
good
I'm
feeling.
I'm ready to bring it. Freaking bring it. You know, who who wants to get it? You're gonna get it.
Oh yes, 100%. That's I think one of the biggest ones that I felt very similar actually. There wasn't a lot of jazz hands,
Mhm.
just good conversations.
Mhm.
And not I didn't really feel like we hit any point in time that we were struggling to converse,
Mhm.
right? Like it was everything developed quite well throughout the conversations I found, and there was no um except for the few times where I needed a kick in the butt,
Yeah. I mean, but we all need
but we
those
all
from
do.
time to time.
Exactly. So
What I
it
will
actually
say,
kind of worked
since
out.
we're on the subject of how you've reduced your jazz hand moments, I should call out that you've probably made a faster evolutionary process than I have in front of the microphone or on the collective per se, because man, I'm doing better, but I think you're doing better than I am than when we first started. You've got a good handle now on some of the things that were a bit of a distraction for you when we all kicked this off. I think you're managing that much better. But what comes to mind specifically, buddy, is yesterday we had a little bit of a rough start to the potty,
Mhm.
or to some degree quite late, and you came in and I didn't really know what was going on, and there was reasons for you being late. And it's unimportant what those reasons were to any of the listeners, the audience. But after you and I had talked about it, I thought that you managed that podcast really, really well, in the sense of you had a few balls up in the air. You were coming in hot and knowing that you were coming in late, and you know what I'm like. And so you knew what you were going to be facing after facing what you'd already faced. And so
Mhm.
you just, you, there's a time not too long ago when you would have acted like an amateur in that moment. But
Yeah.
yesterday you acted like a professional. And it's not that you're like so large and in charge that it's a non-factor anymore. It's just that you acted like a pro. You thought like a pro. You didn't think like an amateur. And to
Mhm.
me, that really came across loud and clear. And for anyone who didn't pick up on that, you know, shake your head, wake up, get in the program, pay attention to the details. Chance Burles nailed it yesterday. So, all I am going to say is this, that your evolutionary process in the collective is actually part of the entire process that we talk about on the
Yep.
daily. All the different subjects that we talk about accumulate into an outcome called Chance Burles is now better. I mean, if no one's seeing it, if no one's paying attention to these things, I can't think of a better way to explain how the collective works, how the process works, how Chance Burles is a proxy for the everyman to become more awesome. I mean, if you ain't seeing it, you've got your eyes closed,
Yeah.
because I see it. I see it every day. I definitely see it every week, but every month, it's like, what, you're generation 97.0 or something right now? I don't know.
I think we're at like 130 some odd. podcast now. I don't
I
even.
suppose
I've
I
kind of
should have
lost.
gone with that.
No, but I've
God.
kind of like lost my. I've lost track of it all because it's not so much blending into
Do you
one
know what
another,
you
but
have lost track of?
the topic.
The old Gong Show Chance Burles.
True.
You've lost that dude.
Yeah,
And good riddance, by the way.
I
That
agree.
guy was a bit of a bonehead.
He was a bit of a bone.
He was a bit of a bonehead.
And actually, today, well, this is one of the greatest things that I've noticed, especially with the collective, is the fact that yes, it allows a progressive shot over time of what consistent daily effort can do, right? And if I'm the avatar for the everyman, awesome. You get to see every day how you do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and it all adds up in the end. Because at the end of this, we're going to be at 365 podcasts and an immense amount of growth over the span of a year of
Let me
just
ask
a
you.
little bit of efforts. Yeah.
I threw it out that the old Chance Burles was a Gong Show, and
Mhm.
now the new Chance Burles is not quite rock star.
Not quite rock star.
Not quite. Let's get all crazy with it. But I'm going to ask you, what do you think your evolutionary process? How would you categorize it?
I would say it's starting to become exponential, if that makes sense. Is that
Mhm.
there was a steady kind of growth in the beginning of it, of just trying to pick up on all the concepts and utilize them. And now I'm seeing them play into each other. It's actually very similar kind of jujitsu, but
Yeah, it is.
is that there's a point where you kind of hit it, you're like, oh, it all kind of starts to make sense.
Oh, it's kind of meshing
And
now.
now it's all coming, and like you talked about yesterday, and the thought I had about it was the fact that um, I was able to go sit down and go, okay, that is done. Now I'm here. And I was able to separate those two things without it becoming, whereas prior, like 2, 3
I mean,
months
in
ago, it
January,
would have just like,
there's no way.
I would have been all over the place.
February, probably not.
Not
March,
really.
maybe.
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 April started to,
April,
I
I
could definitely
feel
see it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
even now, it like clicked yesterday,
Mm.
where I actively made the switch. Whereas I think even last month it would have been not quite a fluke, but I'd be
It
trying.
What it was last month was just a little bit of nudge.
Yeah.
Like you were actively trying to nail it. You were engaged in it. You knew what you were trying to accomplish, but you just needed a little tweak.
Yeah.
Yesterday, there was no tweak. That was all Chance Burles.
Yeah.
I was pretty. I don't want to say I was proud of you because that's weird, but dude, you know, use
Not
use a
really.
different word. But that's what I was feeling in the moment. Because good for you, man.
I appreciate it. It was an interesting day. And even now I look back on it, and prior, 2, 3 months ago, I would have looked at it and been like, oh man, that was a rough one. But
Mhm.
no, actually that's a pretty solid day, and it was a good amount of work, and it wasn't even there were lots of timings that kind of I missed, or I wasn't able to get a full workout in, or I wasn't able to do like the day was very fluid.
But you know,
There's a whole bunch of
you've
stuff
used
going on.
words like I didn't get to do a full workout, I didn't get to do my full day, I didn't get to fully throw the javelin, I
Yeah.
didn't get to fully blah blah blah. Bro, based
But
on what? The template of your suck from a year ago?
the template from
Fully
yesterday, the day
nothing.
before.
I mean, yesterday you fully did all of the things that you fully could do based on your full ability at that
Yes.
full time.
Yes.
Don't ever think for a moment that it wasn't a full workout. It was just a different workout than you thought in your own little peanut, which is
Yes.
nonsense, that you were going to crack out like an Olympian, but you're too sore. And so presto changeo, you had a full workout.
Yep.
It's just kind of lame, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, there was more than what I filmed.
I'm
But
sure.
but the funny thing was is that what I was going to say was the fact that it's prior a couple of months ago, 3, 4 months ago, that would have made me upset that I
Mhm.
wasn't able to grab those things. I wasn't able to
Yeah, for
hit the
sure.
markers that I wanted to. And again, yesterday it was just kind of fluid. It was like, oh, I'm going to do this right now. Oh, okay, I don't really have time for it. Okay, move on to the next thing. Oh, okay, we're moving on to the next thing. Okay, and so the day became more fluid. I moved like water. It was
The
just,
day
okay,
is as
cool,
it
move on
should
to the next one.
be.
Okay, now we're gonna
Yeah,
go here.
that's
Okay, now we're gonna do
right.
this. Now we're gonna do
That's
that. Oh,
right.
now we're over here. Okay. Instead of being like, oh, but the timings and the stuff and the and that was just more loosey goosey. It was awesome. We got a couple comments and questions here. Paul C says, "Love the content, guys. I'm at work. I'll catch it later." Good to go,
Check.
Paul. Winter Storm, Chance's experience starting to build on itself, multiplying
Agreed.
effect. Yeah, and that's what I think. It's feeling exponential. Everything's starting to like. I can put things in the right places now, which is good.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not just that you can do it, and it's not just that you're thinking it. It's not that it's just starting to, I won't say effortlessly occur. I think that's kind of like maybe September, but maybe November for you.
November, probably.
It's not, to me, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Good job, Chance Burles. I'm so proud of
I'm
you.
getting the pat on the back. Yes.
But it ain't
Wait a
about you.
second.
It's not about you at all.
Yep. 100%.
Actually, I couldn't care less about Chance Burles in this particular sentence because it's for them.
Mhm.
You are them.
That's right.
Whoever's them right now, listening to this or watching this or maybe thinking about, does any of this stuff work? Please refer to Chance Burles. And so I'm happy for you, bro. You know that. But
Mhm.
I'll be way happier if anyone out there can just freaking open their ears and listen to this. Go do Chance Burles stuff. Go back to January and listen to stuff that Chance Burles didn't know or had never thought about or never tried or never committed to. Or January, February, March, April. Here we are. New Chance Burles in less than half a year.
It's pretty crazy. And the benefit was, I was gonna say this a second ago. I've been doing the workout videos and the band work and all that stuff of just highlighting the fact that it's done, right?
Yes.
And you can just wake up and get it done, or you can do it in the afternoon and it's done. And because of that, my buddy Rob was like, "Hey man, I've been watching your stuff. We need to talk about some form. We need to start figuring out like how you're doing. If you're gonna do band work, it can't be done like what you're doing. You're just gonna mess your shoulders up more." I'm like, "Okay, cool, sweet. Tell me like, show me
Not
how to do
even
it."
cool. So
So
mega cool.
yeah, and so now he's gonna come over next little while. He's gonna send me a bunch of specific band work that he did for his shoulders to help alleviate the pain because he was getting lots of impingements and all kinds of same issues. So he's gonna hand me the keys to the keys to the car kind of deal and just be like,
as
"Hey,
we
here."
all are supposed to do, pal.
Exactly.
That's literally my old jalopy. I'm driving around a 1965 Chevy Corsair or something, whatever that means. That's got rust in the back panel,
Yeah.
and I'm driving that thing around, trying to hand off my keys to whoever will want to drive the old chassis around. But we should all just be like handing each other the sets of keys to take it for a ride, bro. See how it feels. See if it feels good.
Yeah.
Give it a try. The band workouts, the that, all of the things. The moment that someone says, "Bro, you wanna try my ride?" That's when you know you got a buddy.
Yeah.
Here, take my bike for a ride. See if you like it. I don't do that for anyone. I do that for people who are cool and in the game.
Yep.
And so the moment that your buddy says, "Hey, I'm gonna come over and help you out," dude, he just gave you his car keys,
100%.
It's awesome.
And that's the benefit of the collective, right? This is the
Mhm.
network, and as I start to utilize those things and I put them up online, people are gonna be able to see that evolution too, and they're gonna be able to start seeing the fact that you can just change. And I think the biggest modality change in my own brain was going from thinking I know to knowing I don't,
Mhm. It takes a while.
and it does. And now, somebody says, "Oh, I got a great thing for you," and I can be like, "Okay, let's do it. Let's rock. Like, show me. I'm down. I open eyes, open ears, hit me." And then I can apply it in my life as necessary or not. But I'm more open to the information than I used to be. So that's another.
You'd mentioned videos, you're putting them up every morning, and someone may or may not have encouraged you to absolutely, you will do that every single day. I don't know whoever that was, but they had a good idea when they said that. And so now that you're doing that every day, what I think is the best thing that comes out of that whenever someone is encouraged to do it is now they're holding themselves accountable instead of being a slack ass.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to duck, dodge, or dive when someone barks at you and says, I don't want to hear it. It's a freaking video every morning of you
Mm-hmm.
kicking ass, period. No room for interpretation. Don't even try to tweak it. It's done. And so the moment that you start doing, a week, 2 weeks later, people start recognizing that you're actually committing.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have conviction. You actually follow up on empty words. You turn them into actions. The moment that people start seeing that is the moment that they start respecting the commitment. When they start respecting the commitment, that's when they consider committing to you.
Mm-hmm.
I never commit to anyone who doesn't commit to themselves. Period. That's not my job. Show up with conviction and I'll help you out. If you've got no conviction, move along because
Yep.
I just don't have the time to teach you conviction. You
And
gotta
it's something
you
you
gotta
gotta find.
you gotta find it.
Yeah.
Now I can challenge you with a with some thought constructs to help someone understand in short order as to what their sense of commitment is, their sense of conviction is, and whether that conviction aligns with what their outcome expectations are, or their dreaming dreams.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they got to dig down deep, grab some brass, and start kicking their own freaking arse.
100%.
Once I see someone start kicking their arse, now I'm a fan. Once I become a fan, then I lend a hand. Once I've lent a hand, it'll always be there to shake every single day of the week as long as I see the work being done. The moment someone starts slacking off, I retract my hand, turn it into a fist, and wait to punch them in the throat again. And obviously I don't, but I have two modes. I'm either encouraging you forward or I'm punching you forward. And if I'm not doing that or the other thing, then I'm not doing anything and you're
Mm-hmm.
not in the game for me. I don't casually sit back and think, he's doing well. I'll see how he's doing next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the game. And your buddy Rob is in the game.
Yep.
Now it's for you to get in the game with someone else, every
Mhm.
day.
It's the beauty of it is that that's all it really takes is the conviction to put the effort in
Every
just
day.
every day.
Just the
Or
consistency
just
of it.
that's it.
It
Yeah.
changes lives.
Yeah, it really does. It's kind of mind blowing how quickly it can change things.
Mhm.
We got a great comment here. Octavian BDS, just put my little son to bed. I'm listening to this all the way from Italy since yours is the only channel I have notifications on for. Sweet. Got ideas. We'll do my darndest to frame them and then send them this week. Outstanding. Shoot them my way, man. That is
That's
it.
great. I mean, my family and I were in Italy last summer as part of a month-long vacation in Europe, and of course, Rome. I discovered the best Sicilian granita ever in the world. The entire world is there. And I've been to Italy several times for competitions, et cetera, world championships, mountain bike racing. I love Italy. And having spoken with a number of Italians this summer, I love speaking with people who have radically different opinions on how the world turns or how cultures work or how food works or how anything works. And so Chance and I have some similar ideas about things on how we could do better or not. But I love radically different ideas or radically culturally different perspectives on how things could be done better. So Octavian from Italy, fantastic. I'm looking forward to hearing what you say.
Hit us up, man. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Winter Storm says earlier, Chance would have only let Shaun rant about stuff like pants for 30 minutes. Chance now will only allow a 15-minute Shaun pants rant. Growth. 100%. Although we haven't talked about pants in quite a while, so I think we've been doing all right.
Doing all right.
The question that I had for you, really regarding this last week, was where do you think we could have done it better this week? Because I think we did really well. I think we had a lot of great conversations. I think we hit a lot of points. We had a lot of great guests, but there are things that we can do better. And where do you think? What was maybe the top two things that are clicking in your head of like where we could have hit that better?
So first thing that came into mind, and I've only got one thought. I don't think I can come up with two, but the first thought is important enough and a puzzling challenge enough that it will suffice to last the remainder of the today's podcast. And we don't need to dwell on it too long, but I'm just saying that it's such a challenging construct that I haven't got it solved yet. And I don't think we're going to solve it today, but we'll play with it anyway. So the live or the recorded podcast, we get a lot of things done, but not nearly as much as we get done in the green room. And so, Chance, you know for sure that if it's just you and I in the green room after some potties, we have gone deep and we have gone wide and we have gone hard. And a lot of the evolutionary process that people don't get to see occurs in the green room. Like the foundation is usually laid in the potty, and then the storm usually occurs in the green room from time to time. Now, depending on the guests, if we have guests, sometimes it gets a bit stormy in there as well, but not as stormy as when it's just you and I.
Very true.
And sometimes there's no umbrellas, so we all get wet. So I don't know how to move some of that green room banter or deeper conversations or philosophical reaches. I don't know how to move some of that into the mainstream potty. And I don't think it all could be moved in, obviously.
Yeah.
But I do believe some of it could be, and that's a puzzle that I have yet to solve.
It's that's a tough one, and I've actually gotten feedback from a number of people that have said, why is the podcast only an hour? Why is the show only an hour? And initially, we did it for continuity, right? So that we'd have a specific time to
And it
start,
was kind of
specific
an
time to end.
arbitrary number.
It was just an arbitrary
yeah.
thing, yeah. But at the same time, I don't know if we could manage it, but that might be something to extend the podcast.
But
so
it
that
wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't really be the same.
Whether we extend the podcast or shorten the podcast, the stuff that happens in the green room is a delta or is a distinct difference between what gets delivered in this and what is discussed in that.
I wonder if it could just be the more personal nature of, like, as it's no longer live, people might just, there's a couple times where okay, the live is over. And then you can kind of open up a little bit more, make it a little bit more personal versus sometimes when we have, 3-4 guests and we're chatting about something consistent and then they leave and it's just you and I, and then we can do more direct introspection and direct interaction. So it might just be the fact that, the little live blinker is on versus not. It just might be a
For me,
mental
it
block.
isn't that. Not at all. No? It doesn't matter to me whether we're live or not. I don't care if we're live or not. Or it's not that I don't care. It isn't an impact to me. Whatever I want to say or have to say, need to say, should say, could say, would say, I'll do it in live or I'll do it not live. But when I'm not live, my responses to people or my interactions with people are being driven by them, not live. So if they could bring their not live commentaries into the live commentary, we would be having different discussions. But not everyone is as comfortable as I am in, getting hard into the meat and potatoes of things. And I'm not saying that our guests aren't capable of it, or maybe they are comfortable in doing it. Who knows? Maybe we haven't pushed the envelope hard enough in some of our discussions. Maybe we've tried to remain too elevated or too professional or too constrained or too, polite, or maybe, I don't know. But it is a different vibe in the live for me than it is in the non-live for me.
Yeah. I wonder, excuse me. I wonder if it would be because I feel exactly the same. Is that there is a difference when the live turns off in terms of how we interact in the green room,
Mhm.
and I think perhaps it could be that, especially for me when I'm trying to develop the conversation a little bit or hit a certain topic or try and discuss it, discuss something specific. I think that creates a almost a bit of a railroading system, right? Versus
I
being,
don't know.
or
I think
or
you do
maybe I
a
should
no,
be more
maybe
direct
back
in
in
the.
the day,
Mm.
like back in January, but I don't. I think you do a pretty good job
Mhm.
nowadays.
So maybe it could be that I am not aggressive enough following the conversation or like diving into the conversation.
No, no, that's not on you. None of this is on you, and none of it's on me. None of it's on anyone. It's just that this is how the culture has developed over time.
Mm.
The what we're doing now in the lives with guests, and what you and I are doing specifically right now in real time, this is a cultural phenomenon that has developed over time without
Mm.
any restrictive boundaries or without any hard focus on precisely the direction. Day one, I literally said, we're starting from scratch, zero idea of where this is going to go, and it's going to organically unfold in front of us. Well, that's happened, and here we are.
Yep.
And it 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 is now what it is based on what it needed to be, based on the organic unfolding of each day. Presto changeo, here we are. But now, or as of a couple of days ago, I am pattern interrupting that organic unfolding,
Hmm.
and I want to shape this thing more and not shape it in the direction of my choosing. The only direction I'll shift it now is not left, not right, it's up. I'm not going to change the trajectory of the path that we're on, other than I need to elevate the path.
Yeah.
I need to I need to. Hopefully, we're going to, but I have to. It's it's who I am. I just can't consider anything else other than up.
Yeah.
And as we move up, it'll go left and right and forward and whatever. So maybe backwards a little bit or whatever, but it has to go up.
Got to keep evolving.
Mhm.
I like that. Octavian just hit us back. We're from Ottawa, Montreal, also here on vacation. Nice to
Oh,
see. Good
fantastic.
vacation out there. He says, yesterday we all went to a random local cafe. While I was mindful of the cappuccino's taste a la Sean, I was also mindful of having it carrying my son, loud Italian surrounding my tiny family. Slowed down that moment, made the small experience special.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's nice. I really like
That's
that a lot.
fantastic.
That's all.
Why did we choose an hour? We could have chosen 43 minutes and 1 second
Yeah,
and ended the podcast right there, and that
right
would have
there.
pleased me.
That would have been a good point. Yeah.
I would have been pleased.
But now I'm going to stretch this out for another 17
But
minutes just to get
but
to an
now
hour.
I'm unhappy.
Now you're unhappy. But this is this, I actually really like this. I was thinking about doing this more often. Is that we had initially done like an AAR on month 3, and we'd
Mhm.
thinking another AAR at 6 months. But I think maybe more consistently, maybe a little bit more often, might be good to just really help you and I, especially along with the collective, shrink our boundaries a little bit, just to focus up and figure out how we want to develop this in real time. I think that'd be
Well,
helpful.
I'm going to tell you right now, straight up, that those comments, I wasn't joking. They were really helpful for
Hmm.
me. Not nice. I mean, they're nice comments. I really appreciate it. But more importantly, for me, they're helpful, and
Yeah.
here's why. In today's live IG chat, as I said, I sometimes I feel like I'm swimming upriver by myself, and it's not that that's got anything to do with you, Chance. It's got nothing to do with the collective. I mean, just in my own little IG chats, sometimes when I get going and I'm talking about the world is a bit soft and it needs to harden up a little bit, I really feel like I'm swinging out in the wind by myself. Not all the time, not a lot of the time, but some of the time. And it's not that I've lost my way. I know my way, but sometimes it can be discouraging.
Hmm.
And I've been discouraged before. That's no big deal. I'll get on with the program. I'll smash what I'm going to smash. But it sucks when you're discouraged and you're smashing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as fun to smash when you've got a team of berserkers on your left and right flank. So sometimes I feel like I'm smashing a little bit by myself. And in my live IG chat, that was not the case because people were kind of chiming in to say that is not the case. I feel the I feel the moment myself, buddy. And so having that comment from coming in from Italy, it 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 not only pleases me, it makes me feel, Shaun feel like we're on the right path. And I've always said it, I don't need the pat on the back, but it's good to know that we're on the right path, us as
Yeah.
the collective. So these kind of comments, I don't see them too often, but they're kind of important to me, I suppose, on upon reflection.
Well, they show progress, right?
Mhm.
It's great to smash things, but if you never see the progress of smashing, it can be very discouraging. And you can get to a point of just like, well, I'm smashing here all by myself and nothing's happening. Okay, great, awesome. And you just it can take the fun out of it. Let's put it that way.
I'm used to it though. I
Yeah.
am so used to smashing in isolation. But the collective thing is a different beast for me. It's like
Mhm.
running my race team, my um, racers.
Yeah.
And so if I'm smashing in isolation, I'm good with that. But the moment that I introduce a larger team around me, it's about the team, and I need to make sure the team is positive. I don't
Mhm.
care if I'm in a full hurt locker and smashing solo, I can easily do that. But I don't like my team to feel like that.
Yeah.
So it's good that the team out there is starting to shape up, and it's good to see comments like that because irrespective of how deep or how long a person's been in the team, even if it's day one and it's shallow deep, man, just comments like that are encouraging.
Yeah. One of the things we used to do back in the engineers, we had a logger sports day.
A
So it
what
was
now?
a logger sports
Oh yeah,
day.
okay, yeah.
And one of my favorite times of the year. I love doing lumber work. Anytime we can whip out the chainsaws and start cutting trees down, I'm happy. Um, but there's one event that is awesome. It's a team based event, and it's a standing chop. So you have
Oh yeah, yeah.
a big ass tree, and you just start hammer on it. And there's nothing quite like watching the tree disappear slowly.
Mm.
Right? And you can see every axe hit and you can see every little chip that comes off of that. And it's every time you get one of those big chunks that pops out, it's just like, yeah, you can feel it, even though you're watching somebody else hit the tree. And then when it's your turn and you start wailing into that tree, it is you get to see each one of those points of progress. But there's times where you're just hitting the tree, right? You're just sinking that axe in and nothing's coming off. But you're making
Yeah, how
strides
do you know you're making progress?
because eventually you can see the crack or you can see that piece slip off or you
No,
can
no,
follow
in the
your line
moment. How
in the
how
moment.
do you know you're making progress if you don't see the crack?
Mm. You can see the axe blading into the wood every time. And when
So you're basing your action on it's gonna have a for sure outcome.
yes,
Mm,
because I know the outcome's going to happen. I just have to keep following the line. And so
mhm.
you can, as you're making especially your initial cuts, because you have to make specific cuts in order to open it up.
Yeah, I have
And
chopped down trees before.
yes, exactly. Well, some people haven't. So
Probably more than you, Chance Burles.
I don't know about that, man. I've chopped
Okay,
down a
let's do
lot of trees.
all right, let's just do a little let's just do a little number.
Okay.
Given that I probably chopped down several thousand trees
Several
before
thousand trees? Oh, you were a
several
logger.
thousand
Okay, yeah.
trees
Then yeah,
before
you
you
got
were
more than
even out of diapers.
that.
Just
Then
based on a
yes.
simple 6-week deployment
Okay.
fighting fires up in northern Alberta when I was in high school.
Then yes, you have
What were
chopped
you
down many more
how
trees than I
old were
have.
you again when you were in 1981? How old were you?
1981, I was not even
Yeah.
born yet.
Oh, so you weren't even in diapers when
Nope.
I'd already cut down more trees than you have
I
in your
wasn't even a
life.
lewd thought at that point
I
in
don't
time.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, perhaps there are people out there that have never chopped down a tree, but those are some of the things that's one of the reasons why I loved it so much, is that you can see progress, but it's not always.
You might see progress. You might
See progress.
You might see progress in that first chop. Do you see progress?
I do in placement. Like if I can place it correctly and I get that first chop, that's progress. And then the second chop, that's progress. And then the third chop, that's progress. And then the fourth chop, you should see your chunk flop out. But if it doesn't, then you go back to the top and you start plying away. And it's each axe, every time you swing that axe, there's progress.
Maybe. Unless you misplace your chop.
True.
And then you can kind of mess up your tree. You can mess up your chop.
Yeah.
You can mess up where it lands.
Yep.
And so here's what I was thinking that first swing. And I was kind of curious as to whether you'd actually swung an axe before. When you grabbed the handle by both hands and you were doing this, I was like, has this dude ever used an axe before? Maybe not.
It's hard to make the rotation with that.
Yeah, it was kind of hard. So when you throw your first chop into a tree, you see it hit the tree, but you feel it go up your arm and you hear it when it connects with the tree. Anyone who's been in the game knows the right noise, feels the right feel.
Mm-hmm.
So you throw your first one in, you don't even have to open your eyes.
Dunk.
You don't have to look at the tree. You could be looking at your buddy. You could be looking at the next tree that you're going to chop down. You feel me?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That there's a sound to it. There's a feeling to it. There's a honestly, thinking about it, it's been actually a couple of years since I've chopped down a tree with an axe. That is, taking a couple down with chainsaws, but yeah, that nice sync of it's a nice sound.
You feel it go right up your forearm.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you've had a good chop.
Yeah.
You can hear a good chop. And you know what the chop is? The chop is words. The chop is the language. The chop is the conversation. That first swing, as you're swinging towards the tree, which is a person, when you sink it in and you feel it go right up your arm and you hear that noise, you know you've delivered the right thing to the person. You don't even need to look at them. You don't need to. They could have the best poker face in the world, where you're not going to know how that chop has worked out. But if you've been in the game long enough, you feel it go up your arm. You hear the noise. You can look at their poker face, but you know you've sank your first chop in, and it was a good cut.
And it was a good one, yeah. It is a, for anybody that hasn't done it, you should look it up. The Steel Timber Sports or Logger Sports or anything like that. Those are great shows to watch, but there's something, I don't know, there's something different about it. I really, really enjoyed doing logger sports more than most sports, I think, out of anything. I had a blast with it. So I don't know. Did you ever compete at all in those, or did you?
The only competing that we did, I think, was on the second 3-week deployment that I did on that little grade 11 or whatever I was in firefighting thing in Northern Alberta. On our lunch break, which wasn't very long, we played a little game called Chop the Tree and Trap the Guy. And so your job was to stand in the middle of the clearing and somebody would chop a tree and try to land it on you. Yeah. And invariably it would miss. And then it was the next guy's job to go stand next to that tree, and my job to chop down the tree to try to land it close to him or on him. And so as the game progressed, or as it progresses, here's where I found myself standing in the middle of a bunch of triangled trees from vectors that just kept creating a tighter and tighter triangle until the last tree. And of course I was like a teenager, but I had a certain drive, man. I have a certain competitive nature, and it's got me in trouble. But the men on the team stopped the game the moment the last tree fell down, and it scraped my chest, and I was actually kind of, I couldn't really get out. I was like, "Ooh, that was close." And I mean, the trees were like the trees were stacked so high it was like a kind of above my chest. So
Yeah.
not the right place to be, young Shaun. Poor
Just well,
decisions made by young Shaun.
just slightly dangerous. Like just slightly
Not
dangerous. Dropping
recommended
trees
to
on people.
anyone in the entire world, but that's what we did.
Oh man.
So if you're
Yeah.
asking logging sports, yes, I've played some.
Yeah. Yeah. My side note, but my absolute favorite event, and that one I was the best at, was the snatch cut.
What's
So you
a
run up
snatch
by
cut?
it's a 20 25-degree slope. You got to run up to the end of the log, start
Do
your
you have
chainsaw.
do you have little hobnail boots on or anything like
Cleats?
that?
No.
Or
No,
okay.
just we were wearing we had to wear our steel toe combat boots. So
Okay,
they
okay.
were it was a little slippery, but yeah, you run up to the end of the log, start your chainsaw, and you cut 2 biscuits off the end,
Okay.
both down and up.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
and they got to be within, I think it was 3/4 of an inch to an inch.
Oh, okay, diameter. Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then so yeah, you and it's timed, and we had every year we used to have one of the pros come out and
Mm,
do like a demo and stuff like that. And
nice. That's a good call.
they were awesome. And
Yeah, of course.
man, the racing axes that these guys have are just beautiful too. But yeah,
Mm.
I was hitting times that the guy came over and was like, you're getting pretty close to professional level times for a
Oh,
snatch cut on these.
nice.
And I was like, cool.
Dude, you would
Thanks, man.
smoke me. You would
Yeah.
smoke me with a chainsaw. In fact, it's embarrassing how bad I am with a chainsaw. I've never really been a chainsaw guy. Now,
Mm,
I'll kick your arse with an axe. Even
probably.
with my cronky old arm, I'll still kick your arse.
Probably.
But a chainsaw, I definitely won't. In fact, I'd be still trying to figure out how to get it to run smoothly by the
Mm,
time you'd cut up 10 biscuits.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just
Yeah, it
not a
was pretty quick.
chainsawer.
I was pretty quick with that. The buck saw was another one of my favorites. Those are
Oh,
a
yeah, that's
great one. When you got the
classic.
2-man buck and you're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
giving
yeah.
her,
Yeah.
that's another one where you can really see teamwork
Teamwork.
at its peak, right? And
Yeah.
when you get in that really nice, smooth back and forth,
And that's
it's
reps,
fantastic.
baby.
Yeah,
It doesn't
reps.
matter. It could be your best friend forever, your BFF, mega team. But unless you've done the reps, you suck.
Exactly.
You both could be large and in charge and all kinds of things, but if you haven't done the reps, don't even show up. It's going to be embarrassing for you. Reps.
Yeah, it was my big one. I really love doing that every year, and any year I could do it, I was like super stoked. And right before I got posted out, we had a new warrant. And I was like, "So we got Logger Sports coming up. We should set up a team." And he's like, "What's Logger Sports?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So I had to tell
Logger
the warrant.
Sports is the one day per year where I get to cut off 2 biscuits and feel really good about myself.
Dang right. Well, I was the team leader for a while, for a number of years for different squadrons, so it was pretty good.
How dare you steal my one moment of glory per year?
of glory.
I don't do
One
anything else
moment.
for the rest of the year except
Nope.
cut 2 biscuits and feel good about myself.
2 biscuits and we had the caber toss, which is always a good one. We had the double buck, the snatch cut, the standing chop, the overhand chop, and the underhand chop, and then the obstacle course. And the obstacle course was interesting, actually. It was much more logger-esque than anything. You had to take one of those big square, the double square, like cement rectangles. And I can't remember what they're actually called, like the obstacles. And you had to take a bunch of logs and put them move from the back to the front so that you could actually roll it a certain set distance. And then you use your hacks. You pick up the log, another big log, and you run it to the other side. And then you have to go through lots of fun. I won't bore everybody with my description.
You did already.
I did already. Everyone's gone to sleep and no one's watching anymore. Any final thoughts on today or this last week or anything that we have covered today?
Now that we know that you're so good with an axe, I'd just like to thank you, buddy, for keeping it together this week, enlarging and charging it, and pushing the velocity on getting us some raderific guests. It's been good. It was a good week. You're right to suggest that it was a good week because it was a good week. But I don't like resting on my laurels, so I'm going to wrap with this. Pick up the pace, Chance Burles.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Don't you worry.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
And I do appreciate the kicks in the ass every once in a while because we all need it. Everyone, doesn't matter how good you're
I
doing,
do.
you need another, like, let's give it a shot, and we got to keep working. Winter Storm says, "Great talk, boys." Oh, I missed a couple here. It says, "I cut down trees. I wear high heels, suspenders, and a bra. I wish I were girly, just like my dear papa."
A classic.
The lumberjack song just keeps
It's
running through my
so
head.
classic.
Beauty, love it. And if you guys don't know that song, I suggest you go onto YouTube and look up the lumberjack song because it is absolutely classic. So not only we patted my back quite a bit, but I want to pat
Too
yours too.
much.
I want to pat yours too
Don't
because
even.
I'm gonna, because it makes you uncomfortable and I
It
like doing it.
does. What a loser.
But you especially have been able to not only kick my butt on some days, but work with me on other days and allow me to grow at a pace that is pushing my limits without overwhelming me at the same
Yeah,
time.
agreed.
So I really appreciate all the work that you've put into me and the collective and the conversations and keeping the flow of this forward rather than static.
I dig it.
There's your little POV.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't get all too much there. That was almost acceptable.
Did you get a tear? Was there a little,
No.
like, little bit?
You'll never make me cry.
Just you wait. That sounds like a throwdown if I ever heard one. Well, I appreciate it. It's been a great talk. Was we, as the collective, as a group, continually every day learn and build and grow here on the collective. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Chimo.
Chimo.